Assassinations have a way of shaking the world like few other events can. When a key figure is suddenly removed, especially by a violent, unexpected act, the ripples can turn into tidal waves, reshaping countries, ideologies, and even entire eras. Today, we're counting down the top 10 assassinations that changed world history, moments that altered the course of humanity in ways no one could have predicted. Let's dive in. Number 10, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, 1914. At number 10, we start with one of the most famous sparks in modern history, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. His assassination on June 28, 1914, in Sarajevo by Gavrilo Princip, a Bosnian Serb nationalist, is widely regarded as the immediate trigger for World War I. Now, it wasn't just about one man's death, it was about the perfect storm of nationalist tensions, imperial ambitions, and tangled alliances. When Ferdinand was killed, Austria-Hungary quickly blamed Serbia, setting off a chain reaction of declarations of war. What followed was 4 years of brutal conflict that redrew borders, destroyed empires, and laid much of the groundwork for World War II. Without that assassination, the 20th century might have unfolded quite differently. Number 9, the murder of Julius Caesar, 44 BC. Moving back over 2 millennia, the assassination of Julius Caesar is a classic tale of political betrayal that forever changed the Roman world. On the Ides of March, 44 BC, Caesar was stabbed 23 times by a group of Roman senators led by Brutus and Cassius. They feared his growing power threatened the Republic's survival, seeing him as a would-be king. But ironically, their act didn't restore the Republic. Instead, it plunged Rome into civil war. The chaos that followed led to the rise of Caesar's adopted heir, Octavian, who became Augustus, the first Roman emperor. This event transformed Rome from a republic into the Roman Empire, setting the foundation for Western civilization as we know it today. Caesar's assassination wasn't just the end of one man, it was the end of an era and the birth of another. Number 8, the killing of Martin Luther King Jr., 1968. Jumping to the 20th century again, the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. stands as a heartbreaking turning point in the American civil rights movement. On April 4, 1968, King was shot on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. His death sent shockwaves through the United States and the world. King was the moral compass of nonviolent resistance against racial segregation and injustice, a voice calling for equality, peace, and understanding. His assassination triggered riots across many cities and dealt a severe blow to the civil rights movement. While his death galvanized some to continue the fight with even more urgency, it also exposed the harsh reality of deep-rooted racism and violence in America. King's legacy, however, lives on as a symbol of hope and change, but the world lost a giant on that day. Number 7, the murder of Rasputin, 1916. Here's a less commonly discussed but hugely impactful assassination: the killing of Gregori Rasputin, the mystic advisor to Russia's last royal family. Rasputin's influence over Tsarina Alexandra and his perceived meddling in Russian politics made him a despised figure among nobles and politicians. In December 1916, a group of nobles, fearful that Rasputin's influence threatened the monarchy's stability, poisoned, shot, and finally drowned him. This dramatic assassination happened just months before the Russian Revolution. While Rasputin's death didn't stop the fall of the Romanovs, it symbolized the desperation and chaos within the empire's ruling class. The monarchy's collapse soon followed, paving the way for the Bolsheviks to seize power and change global history with the rise of Soviet communism. Number 6, the assassination of John F. Kennedy, 1963. The assassination of John F. Kennedy, America's 35th president, remains one of the most shocking and controversial events of the 20th century. On November 22, 1963, Kennedy was shot while riding in a motorcade in Dallas, Texas. His death stunned the nation and the world. JFK was a young, charismatic leader embodying a new era of hope and progress during a tense Cold War period. His assassination not only marked a tragic loss, but also sparked numerous conspiracy theories and debates about what really happened that day. Politically, it led to a swift transition in leadership and a shift in American domestic and foreign policy. The event profoundly affected public trust in government and shaped the political atmosphere for decades. Kennedy's death remains a pivotal moment that many believe altered the trajectory of the United States and its role on the global stage. Number 5, the killing of Mahatma Gandhi, 1948. At number 5, we remember the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of Indian independence and a global icon of nonviolent resistance. On January 30th, 1948, Gandhi was shot by Natharam Godse, a Hindu nationalist who opposed Gandhi's tolerance toward Muslims during the partition of India and Pakistan. Gandhi's murder was a devastating blow to a newly independent India struggling to find its identity amid religious tensions. His philosophy of peaceful protest inspired movements around the world, from civil rights in America to anti-apartheid in South Africa. Gandhi's death intensified efforts to unify the country, but also underscored the deep divisions that still lingered. His life and death continue to remind us how powerful peaceful resistance can be, and how fragile progress often is. Number 4, the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, 1865. The assassination of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, came at one of the most critical moments in American history. On April 14, 1865, just days after the Confederate surrender ended the Civil War, Lincoln was shot by John Wilkes Booth while attending a play at Ford's Theater. Lincoln's death shocked a nation that was beginning to heal from its bloodiest conflict. His leadership had preserved the Union and begun the work of ending slavery, but with his death, the delicate process of Reconstruction became more tumultuous. The Assassins' Act plunged the country into deeper uncertainty and division, complicating the path toward reconciliation. Lincoln's legacy as the great emancipator only grew after his death, but the nation lost a visionary leader who might have guided it through one of its darkest times more smoothly. Number 3, the murder of Malcolm X, 1965. Coming in at number 3 is the assassination of Malcolm X, a fiery and controversial figure in the fight for African American rights in the 1960s. On February 21, 1965, Malcolm was shot and killed while giving a speech in New York City by members of the Nation of Islam, a group he had publicly split with. Malcolm X challenged the mainstream civil rights movement with his calls for black empowerment and self-defense, inspiring many but also making powerful enemies. His assassination left a void in the struggle for racial justice and further complicated the movement's path. Yet his ideas and speeches have continued to influence generations, emphasizing pride, self-determination, and human rights. Malcolm X's death was not just a loss for African Americans, but a profound moment in the history of social activism worldwide. Number 2, the assassination of John Lennon, 1980. In the late 20th century, the murder of John Lennon was a moment that shook the world's cultural foundation. On December 8, 1980, Lennon, former Beatle and peace activist, was shot outside his apartment in New York City by Mark David Chapman. Lennon was more than a musician. He was a symbol of peace, counterculture, and change during a turbulent era. His assassination felt like a sudden blow to the hopes of a generation dreaming of a better, more compassionate world. The tragic loss sparked global mourning and renewed conversations about violence, fame, and the vulnerability of icons. Lennon's music and message still resonate today, reminding us that even in a world filled with darkness, the call for peace and love endures. Number 1, the assassination of Adolf Hitler's deputy, Reinhard Hydrickch, 1942. Topping our list at number 1 is the assassination that struck a terrifying blow to Nazi Germany during World War II, the killing of Reinhard Hydrickch. Hydrickch was one of the main architects of the Holocaust, a ruthless leader nicknamed the Butcher of Prague. On May 27, 1942, in Prague, 2 Czechoslovak resistance fighters trained by the British attacked Hydrick's car, fatally wounding him. His death sent shockwaves through the Nazi regime and inspired hope among the oppressed. However, the brutal Nazi retaliation that followed was horrific, with entire villages destroyed and thousands killed. Still, Hydrick's assassination was a pivotal act of resistance against tyranny, demonstrating the courage and sacrifice of those who fought back. If you found this countdown interesting, don't forget to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories that reveal the fascinating moments behind history's biggest turning points. What assassination shocked you the most? Let's talk below.